First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me for this, interview, and also for the question. Yes, I have indeed been working in the Secretariat for last 18 plus years, and this national implementation plan assisting parties in updating, developing their national implementation plan, recording their national implementation plan, all and publishing them in the website, and also to present the national implementation plan that we have received from parties to the conference of the parties. So this is what I had been doing for so many years. So yeah, this is really a very important work in the secretariat, also from the side of parties to develop such a plan to implement their obligations under the convention. And I can, in your question about the barriers and successful responses on barriers, I would, I could tell you from two aspects. One is I did work before joining the Secretariat for the Ministry of Environment, and our ministry was tasked also to develop the national implementation plan for my country. And we did have some difficulties while developing the NIP. And also from this side, from other end, from the Secretariat side, I have been receiving requests from parties from to time, we want to develop our national implementation plan, or we want to update our national implementation plan, but we don't know what to do. We don't have expertise. We don't have technical expertise. We don't know how to do the inventories. There are that many people, who would understand these new chemicals, that are being added to the convention. So not much knowledge exists in the country, and also the resource. We don't know where to get the money. So these are, I would say that these are the major barriers. They seem to be the technical capabilities, expertise, knowledge on the pops and where they are being used, and could they be phased out, could they be banned or not, if that will have any impact on their industry, their economy, the jobs. So they are a bit not so sure about that. And another thing is that the national priorities. If the countries, they have especially the developing countries, their priorities is about the poverty alleviation, economic development, and uh, this dealing with the persistent organic pollutant might not be the something that they can sell to their constituent, because these are policy things, and you need budget, you need work plan, you need activities, and you need to implement it. Once you develop the plan, you need to implement it. So you must have this thing as a prioritized activity. So since people do not understand the importance of having this kind, the developing NEP and implementing the obligation under the convention. So that the lack of this knowledge, this awareness among the people, also does not puts enough pressure for policy people to adopt regulations, or make a conducive environment in developing and updating national implementation plan. So these and financial resources, of course, that is one of the most important one. Many parties, developing country parties, do they can apply for fund, with the financial mechanism of the convention. But then there are other countries also, who are not eligible to apply for funds, and it's not priority in their country. They can, you know, um, allocate some funds, but then it is not their priority, so they do not do. So at this moment, there are few countries, they have not even developed their first NIP. It is because it is not their priority. Because even from the developed countries, we have seen that they have not submitted their NEP. So I don't think it is the fund is a big issue there. National priority is there an issue. So I think basically these are the barriers. The financing, the national priorities, and the knowledge and the skill available in the country. I would say, first, if they reach out to the secretariat, for example, if they do not know how to do it, do not know where the expertise lies, they can reach out to the secretariat, and then we can coordinate with the JF implementing agencies and other people, those who are working in this area. So we can kind of do the matchmaking. We can connect them with those who have the expertise, those who have the knowledge. So that we had been doing in the past also. Those there are several countries reached out to us, and we connected them with the UNEP, with UNIDO. So that is one thing we could do. And there is another thing that like a regional center can also be very, very handy there, because regional centers, they reach out to parties because the regional center needed to submit their business plan or work plan every 4 years. And in their work plan, while preparing the work plan, there is guidance from the COP that the regional centers should look into the need of the countries while preparing the proposals for capacity building of the countries. So NEP is the primary document. So regional center do have that information, do have that knowledge, and can help them in getting the expertise or, uh, and also reaching out to other, institutions who may have knowledge and people. And another thing would be like, um, raising awareness. So there are so many materials available. Like I can say that GGKP has prepared so much of materials there. I can see in your websites. Also in the Secretariat, we have so much, information available. We have so many leaflets easily understandable for the lay people, those who are not the technical people, but then everyday people can also understand those things. So we do have lots of information there. We have the kind of e-learning platforms where we have these Stockholm Convention National Implementation Plan online courses are available, so they can also help. So there are so many other materials, not only limiting to the Secretariat or to GGKP. There are other partners also. They do have a lot of materials, so those materials could be disseminated through, and well, there are in the countries I have my experience in my country that we used to have an environmental journalist forum. There was a forum for environment journalists. I think similar things are there in many countries. So these environment journalists, if they are reached out by the government, by the focal point, they come very handy. They do have information and they reach out through the mass media. And once people are aware about these things, these are rather technical things, and people will not just understand, unless they are told. If this information reaches out to the parties, then that will build pressure on the politicians, and then things could be changed. That's how it will be more effective. Otherwise, it will be just like, it comes from the international, global mandate and comes to national, and stays in the ministry. It does not go down, trickles down. Unless people are aware, nothing really happens. So yeah, it's very important that the people are also taken on board, and the NGOs could be very handy. The journalists could be very handy. Yeah, we should mobilize these people. Here, I first would like to clarify that, the Secretariat is, not in position to assist parties in updating or developing their NIP. We cannot really go to every country, every party, and help them to update or develop their NIP. All we can do is to assist them to, as I said in your first question, we could help them connecting those who have the mandate of assisting parties in developing their NIP. For example, the JEF implementing agencies are there, like UNEP, UNIDO, World Bank, so UNDP. We could connect, so that we could do. Uh, uh, what happens is when uh, we may have diverse type of NIP received. We have some one-pager NIP and some very, very, very elaborated NIP. And it depends, on the understanding, on the importance that the country gives on NIP. If and it is also an opportunity, in fact, for parties to develop a NIP. If the NIP is developed in such a way that includes all the stakeholders, not only the government stakeholders, but also outside, like NGOs, like different universities, academia, the research institution, because they are also doing the researches relating to the POPs, and these things do not really come into the picture. The ministry does not know that what the university is doing, why university, what this the PhD student is doing research on. So there are things happening. So if these people are involved in developing and updating NIP, then what happens is NIP becomes a live document. It becomes a document that integrates the academia, that integrates the NGOs, that integrates the legal entities. There are several NGOs. There are even there are so many incidents that we have seen that the Supreme Court, for example, in India or in other countries, they have stepped in and they have you know uh, asked government to ban certain pesticides, certain chemicals, and so these people, if they are involved in developing and updating NIP, then that becomes a live document, and that becomes a real document from where several projects can be emanated, and several projects can be implemented. And this is some countries have very successfully done their NIP in this way, but some countries, they have just kind of uh, mm, fulfill their mandate by submitting a NIP, but then I would, question on how useful will that be for that country. As I also brought this before in your first second question, that we have lots of guidances materials in our website. Uh, we have one kind of materials, like very technical. Those guidance, inventory guidance, for example, they are very technical, and not all people, everyday people, will understand that. Maybe it is not necessary for them to understand everything, but then uh, what I would think is, if we could also convert those guidance material into more understanding, kind of more, with more graphics, more visual, and more presented in a sectoral kind of thing, than on chemical specific. if you go on one particular chemical, then yeah, you can go deep down. It will be more like a columnar approach. But if you go, present it for one particular sector, then there would be you could accommodate many pops, many that you will encounter while working in that area. So those people who are involved in building sector, those people who are involved in transport sector, not everybody will understand the technical guidelines that we have for the inventory, like MCCP inventory or the PCN inventory, or those inventories are maybe good for the chemist, maybe good for the chemical engineer, those who are involved in developing the NIPS. But for people, those who are working in the construction sector, probably they will not understand if you say that, this chemical, the SCCP, could be in the paint that you do the painting, or, PFOS may be there. They will not understand. So you will have to explain, you know, uh, uh, um, and these things should be done in more by reconverting the information that we have, those technical guidelines into more graphics, more understandable, material to be converted. I think here the GGKP and UNEP and other partners can play a very good role on converting them into the material that are more would be usable by the parties. So the most important, as you said, the inventories is most important. The NEP development guidance or updating guidance, which is there, that is also very, very elaborated and very, and very detailed. It says that who should be in your committee and how should you make the decision, what you should have this the priority setting workshop. So it's very detailed, and those I would invite parties to go through. They are very good. Maybe they needed to do to do frequent updates. We've been doing that updates also, though. We updated those guidances in 2020, 2017, I think. We keep updating them, but then I would advise uh, parties also to visit, other materials, like in Rotterdam Convention, there are materials on chemicals. There are Basel Convention, there are materials on the POPs waste and the waste management, and how the environmental sound management of waste can be done. So it's not limiting only into the Stockholm website, Stockholm material, but then there are other materials available. So those materials also should be looked into, and they come very handy, I believe. Yeah, that would be my advice. Let me, from the very outset, I want to clarify here also. We do have regional centers under the Basel Convention and also under the Stockholm Convention, but not under the Rotterdam Convention. So there are no regional centers under the Rotterdam Convention. But then these regional centers under the Basel and Stockholm Convention have been mandated to assist parties also to implement the Rotterdam Convention. So yeah, these Basel and Stockholm Convention do the work also for the Rotterdam, despite they do not have their own regional centers. And these regional centers also are working for the Minamata Convention. They are also assisting parties in implementing Minamata Conventions, the Basel and Stockholm Convention. For your question about how regional center can help, and regional centers, they were established under the Basel and Stockholm Convention as a technical wing, uh, uh, to be present in the region so that the quick help can be provided right there. And also the knowledge, it was expected that in the region, these regional center will have the advantage of knowledge, sorry, the language. They speak the same language, the local language, they would also, have the similar kind of, these countries from the same region or sub-region will have similar kind of economic, cultural, background that will help also, to understand the situation in each countries and what is the need and what are the problem. If that you have a problem in one country in the region, the neighbor country might have similar problem also. And if the regional center are from that region, then they will understand, what is the problem that may be entirely different problem from other region, from the, from Africa. If it is the regional center or the countries, we're talking about from Asia or South Asia or East Asia or Southeast Asia, then this Southeast Asia economic, cultural, and those things may be entirely different from Africa. So this is one thing that the regional center are capable, have knowledge, have understanding of their own region. Another thing is the regional center have mandate. They are required to submit their work plans for 4 years. And to prepare their work plans, they are required to reach out to the parties. And these parties in the sub-region, the regional center reaches out to them and asks them what are their needs, what kind of assistance they need under the Basel, under the Stockholm, under the Rotterdam. So parties have opportunity to tell them what kind of expertise, what kind of support, what kind of assistance they need. So the regional center will collect these needs from their constituent countries, and those needs they then translate into the plan, how they are going to do, what project they are going to do, and how they are going to implement it, and for that how much money would be needed, and then these proposals they submit it to the donors. They also they submit it to the work plan is submitted to the secretariat, and then we publish it in the website. And some donors, they look into the business plan, work plans of the regional centers, and they sometimes reach out to us asking that, okay, we like this project here, how can we support? And then we sometimes connect them together. Sometimes the donor, they want us to play the role, so they give money to us. Then we transfer that money through SSFA to the regional center, so they do that activity. So this is what regionals are doing. So regional centers are regionally located, and regional centers do reach out to the parties and get their feedback while developing their work plans. And these work plans are endorsed in the steering committee meeting in different avenues. And these information, these plans are submitted to the secretariat, and secretariat publishes it for the wider, knowledge sharing, information sharing, so that the donors also see it, and then they offer what they are doing can do. So this is what the regional center had been doing. And I'm really glad to note that right now the regional centers also are working with UNEP and other JEP implementing agencies as executing partners, and they are reaching out to the regional centers, the parties, and some of the regional centers, as you rightly noted, that there are some regional centers, especially the Stockholm Regional Center, are located in the universities, in the research institutions. They do have monitoring capacity, and they are doing, regional monitoring, air monitoring of POPs, not only in Europe or in Africa. They are doing it all over the world, and they are collecting the data. So these kind of regional center who do have this specific knowledge are reaching out, and they become instrumental in implementing the project of developing NEP and updating NEP, or even implementing the post NEP projects. So regional center, that is their mandate, and they have been doing it recently. There are, I think, in Africa there are few regional centers, at least three regional centers, two or three regional centers. I think they are involved, and from Central and Eastern Europe, there are two regional centers. I think they are involved. And in Latin America, there are many, I think three, four regional centers that they are involved in updating, developing NEP. And in Asia also, quite a few regional centers involved. So this is a very, very good thing that the regional center are really helping parties to develop and implement the NEP, which is the mandate to the regional centers. This is a bit tricky situation also on the parties. The cops. There are they the research is the finding out there are more and more pups that are still being used, and they needed to be phased out. And then if you go on adding them, they will be, as you said, a big list. And I there was one research which showed that there are more than like 500, even more, 700 chemicals that are being currently used might fall under the group of pups. If they uh, kind of have the pups characteristic, though they have not been assessed to include in the convention. The proposal have not come. You could expect that they will come eventually. So there will be like 800 chemicals out of 100,000 chemicals that were assessed. So this is going to be, if we go pops per pops, specific pops, path, then it will be overwhelming. It will be, not possible for countries to update it and keep pace with the aiding chemicals. I could see that I have already seen the parties have started going through going away from the specific pop inventory, from specific updating the need for a specific pop to the sectoral thing, through the sectoral approach. I think sectoral approach would be the way of going in the future, because sector can hold as many pops as possible at the moment, at same time. If you are dealing with the agricultural sector, then you are talking about the pesticides, you are talking about the fertilizers, you are talking about those chemicals. Then you can have, though there are just 10 pesticides. I'm just saying, out top of my head, there are 10 pesticides. Maybe tomorrow there will be like, you know, mm, 25 pesticides in after 10 years. So if you have something on pesticide sector in the agriculture sector, then it will stay relevant. You can aid those for the agriculture sector, and the average, the general policy how to deal with the pesticides and the agricultural chemicals will by and large stay the similar. If you go into the construction sector, the same thing applies. You could have 100 chemicals under the construction sector, but then you'll make a rule that how you what kind of material you use, and there's moving from specific dealing with specific chemical or materials to the life cycle one, to the circular economy. That will help taking these really toxic substance out from the economy. And this approach, the circular economy and the sectoral approach will help, keeping this thing from being redundant, I think. I would. This is it's not easy because you want to do everything. But still, I would say that maximizing the use of national experts would be one thing. We do have expertise, but we do not see them. My experience, when I was working with the Ministry of Environment, I didn't know that there was expertise, available in the university. We always did, with the same consultant we've been working always with. So did not know what is happening in the universities, didn't know what is happening with the research institutions. So there are opportunities. So y- we do have to find out, we do have to reach out, we do have to once identified these experts to maximize the use of these expertise, so that will keep the information in the country and knowledge in the country. And these experts are trained with with new mandate, with new opportunities. These national experts, they also enhance their knowledge, and then they also become updated with the opportunity they get. So this is one thing I would say, and also involving relevant NGOs. We have issue with, in countries, it's sometimes the countries or the government, this also goes for me, as I also used to think in the same way when I was working for the government, that these NGOs are troublemakers. They always make troubles, they always make loud noise in order to remain, or be seen as some very active. Maybe that is true to some extent, but I am not going to that direction. All I'm saying is the NGOs, they do have a very great role to play because they are from the society and they know society better, and they are actually they are very resource efficient also. If the same thing is to be done by the government mechanism, it will take like 20 people. The NGO, they do the work with 3 people, so they are resource efficient also. They have knowledge, they have experience. So we should not leave NGO or other as I said, other stakeholders from other institutions, other government departments. If it is, the need development and implementation is mostly within this scope of Ministry of Environment, but they cannot only do everything by themselves because they need also people from customs, also people from agriculture, also need people from business, from commerce. As we are talking about the construction sector, we are talking about the energy sector. So there are, there are private sectors. They do have stake also on development, and they do have stake also on dealing with the chemicals, which we tend to forget easily. So maximizing the national expertise would be one thing, and maximizing or involving, integrating with all relevant stakeholders in the country. That would be very important, in my opinion. And also, not working in isolation with this Stockholm, but also see the opportunity of synergizing with other MEAs, with Basel, with Rotterdam, with Minamata, with Montreal Protocol, Ozone Convention, with the biodiversity, with climate change. So finding the way how these can be, synergized, we get this the same goal, but there could be several actors, several partners working together. That will be a very win-win, and also there will be a cross fertilization of the ideas, because different MEAs have different mandates, different mind setting. When you work together, then you see that, okay, there are some areas we overlap, even if technically there are nothing overlap, but then they go to the same university, same institutions, where they will get the people. There are areas where they may overlap their mandates. So I think, so working also with other MEAs would also be the third, thing that I would say to take into my consideration. So yeah, national expertise, stakeholders, and the synergizing the among the other MEAs.